Suprabhatam friends, welcome to my channel Plants and Me. This is Dr. Devi from Mangaluru, Karnataka, India. A few days back I had ordered a few plants online. This is the Senecio. It is a succulent. It has come like this, wrapped in a plastic. Large plant, in fact, very nice. Look at the stem, it's so thick. This is the Vanilla Orchid. The very famous vanilla essence is prepared from this. This is an orchid. This is Aglonema rotund tiger. These three plants were ordered online and I had kept them aside so that they recover from the transit shock, but looks like it's time for me to repot them. Gone. Look at this leaf, it's so beautiful. So I have these various components for those various plants. This is the pumice stone powder. This is pine bark, coconut chunks. This is the vermicompost. I will start with this Succulent Senecio. It has been packed very tightly. I think I'll need a scissor. Okay, I'll get the scissors. I'll cut this. One cut if I give, I think I'll be able to remove the whole thing. This looks more like a cling paper which is used in the kitchen. It has come in this soil and coco peat mixture. For such a big plant, the roots are very small. This is a soil and coco peat mixture. Yeah, I will use this pot which is about 5 inch in diameter. I can use this because there is soil in this. So for this 5 inch pot, I'll need little more potting mix. This is my usual garden potting mix which I buy from the nursery. This is the quantity. To this I am going to add 3 parts of sea sand. 1, 2, little more. It's a cactus, so it likes a very well draining soil. There is this pebble. It's a very large pebble, not needed. Small pebbles like this can be retained. I am going to add vermicompost to this, which will be equal to the quantity of the sand which I took. To this, I am adding the potting mix. Now it is full till here. One trick which can be done to save the roots from root rot is place some pebbles here and on that place the plant. So I have placed these pebbles. I will keep the plant on these pebbles and again surround it with pebbles. I am adding the remaining potting mix. I have pressed the potting mix tightly so as to remove the air pockets, because when I water, the soil will become loose and the plant will fall down. This is a very tall plant, so it needs stacking. So I have given it a stacking to the plant. I have given a stacking to the plant. Now it's very stable. I am not going to water it now because the sand was very wet because it's raining. So that much moisture is enough for now. Once the plant settles down and produces new shoots from here, I will start watering the plants. The second plant which I am going to repot is this Vanilla Orchid. I'll remove this tape. It has come in a mixture of cocoa peat and perlite. I am not a big fan of cocoa peat, so I am going to change this medium. I am removing this medium. Very well developed root, beautiful. Here is the perlite or pumice stone, and this is the cocoa peat. This is the, I think it is, no, this is pumice stone powder, and that is the cocoa peat. So here is the plant with the root. It's a very small plant actually. Now we will prepare the potting mix. I am taking this coconut chunks. To that I am adding this pumice stone powder. This is how it appears. Coconut chunks already makes the potting mix airy. I have added the pumice stone. To that I will add these pine bark. I will be using this 6 inch pot. I am pouring this mix. Now in this I will poke the plant. Something here. I will have to give it a support. This orchid has already got these epiphytic roots, so it needs some support around which these roots will cling on. So I am giving it a moss pole. So the plant is now fixed. Now comes the third plant. I'll open this package. Different vendors have got different ways of packing the plants. This is in cocoa peat and pumice powder again. I'll remove this packing. The plants are well rooted. Oh, there are so many plants. It's not one plant. This is the rhizome, or the runner you can call. This is one plant, and from this so many other plants have developed. From here, from this runner also one plant has developed. I am trying to remove as much cocoa peat as possible. Now this plant has to grow from these runners. So obviously the plant will require a well draining soil. And because it is producing these runners, it is a heavy feeder. I would prefer the cactus type of potting mix. So much of cocoa peat. Earlier I had prepared this for that succulent senecio. I am using this pot. Now to this I will add more sand. So it is this crumbly type of potting mix. I added vermicompost equivalent to the amount of sand. So basically I am using a succulent type of potting mix. I'll put it in this pot. I'll place these plants on this. So this height is too high it is, so I have to remove a little bit or make some place for the plant. So this seems apt. These two plants again, they would go here. A little bit more potting mix. I would prefer these rhizomes to be above the potting mix. I don't want them to go below the potting mix. I'm scared they might rot. So these rhizomes are above. One or two of them are above the soil potting mix. Sunlight requirement for the succulent, that is Senecio. It is said that they grow well in bright indirect light. In fact, in the natural habitats, they grow under big rocks and laterite rocks. Laterite places they grow very well. So they get bright indirect light and to some extent a bit of direct sun also. What I would be doing is, I would be keeping the plant at a place where it gets morning sun, and because I would be keeping it in a place where it gets morning sun, I would have to water it almost twice or thrice in a week because of the sand which will cause the water to drain out very fast. On top of it, there will be sunlight falling on the plant. In my place, the plants, the succulents and the cactus, they suffer more because of the humidity rather than the moisture. Especially in the rainy season, the humidity goes as high as 90%. So for these succulents and cactus, that humidity is a killer. We can keep it at a place where it gets indirect light, but the plant will thrive, it will not bloom. Senecio is a plant which belongs to the sunflower family and it has got beautiful blooms. I want the plant to bloom. One of my cactus is in full sun and it is growing very well. No issues at all. But succulent, I cannot keep in direct sunlight or in the open. Especially in the rainy season, it's very difficult to manage the plant. That is about the sunlight. Water requirements. These succulents, they require very minimal amount of watering. If you are keeping it in indirect bright light, then watering the plant once in 10 to 15 days is more than enough. The potting mix has to dry out completely between the two waterings. We can keep the top 1 inch dry as the hallmark for watering the plant. That benchmark can be kept. Or otherwise, watering schedule once in 15 days would be more than enough for the plant. It's a succulent and it stores water this leaf, it is so thick and fleshy. It stores water in the leaves. That is why these plants do not require much water. Whatever water we give it, that will last for 15 days. If the plant is watered too much, then these leaves will start rotting and the plant will not survive. That is about the water requirements. Nutrition. Senecio is a plant which requires minimal nutrition. It grows on rocky area, as I told you, so it requires minimal nutrition. I have given it vermicompost and that would suffice for about 3 to 4 months. After that, I will replenish it with vermicompost again. Some people recommend putting fertilizer once in 6 months. That also is very much fine. These are very slow growers and because of that they will use up the vermicompost or the nutrition also very slowly. That is why fertilizing the plant once in 6 months is more than enough. So that was about Senecio or the succulent which I repotted today. The next plant is this Aglonema. I have put it in a cactus type of potting mix. Aglonemas actually love water. This is my experience again. So watering schedule would be, once the potting mix is about to dry, it has to be watered again. So once in 5 to 6 days is more than enough. Moreover, those runners are there, those rhizomes are there. So those rhizomes will rot if we water it too much. Once we feel that the water is about to dry, then water it completely till the water comes out of the drainage holes. That is about the watering schedule. Sunlight requirement, it requires bright indirect sun. It cannot be kept in direct sun. At the most, morning sun or evening setting sun is enough for the plant. In fact, that morning sun would give this beautiful variegation on the leaf. The leaf has got variegation on it, so the morning sun would give that variegation. If we keep it completely under the shade, that variegation will not develop. So for the variegation, sunlight is of utmost importance, and I would keep it in a place where it gets bright indirect sun. As I said, morning sun is not harmful. It can tolerate, but it cannot tolerate the scorchy sunlight of the afternoon. Nutrition, I have put vermicompost. Any fertilizer which will pep up the leaf size is enough for the plant. We are growing the plant for its foliage, not for its flowers or blooms. So vermicompost is an all-rounder actually. It will help the plant to develop good big sized leaves. Apart from that, Epsom salt can be added as a foliar spray. This is about a 5-inch pot. So just 5 grams, just 5 grams of Epsom salt can be added into the soil directly, or otherwise in 1 liter of water, any water, that is tap water also will do. To that 5 grams of Epsom salt should be added and it can be mixed nicely. Put it in a sprayer and spray on the leaves directly. It can be given as a foliar spray. Other type of fertilizer is NPK, where N is the nitrogen, and NPK with high nitrogen content can be given to the plant. That will help it produce large leaves and healthy leaves with good variegation. So for Aglonema to develop that variegation, bright indirect light or morning light along with a nitrogen rich fertilizer is of utmost importance. The plant will thrive like anything in these conditions. Never give it direct sun. So that was about that Aglonema. Aglonema rotund tiger. Why it is called as tiger? Because it has got these stripes which look like stripes on the tiger. Then the third plant which I repotted today is the Vanilla Orchid. It's an orchid. I have given it a moss pole, so it will climb on the moss pole. Sunlight requirement: it can thrive in morning sun or in evening sun. A few of my orchids are there which get direct sun from about 11 a.m. to about 1 p.m. For blooming especially, these orchids require some amount of sun, otherwise they will not bloom. They can be kept in bright indirect light. They will thrive, even they will bloom also, but the number of blooms will be less. And Vanilla Orchid is grown for their blooms, which will convert into a seed pod, and the seed pod will have that vanilla essence which we get. So for that sake, it has to get direct sun for minimum 2 to 3 hours in a day. That is about the sunlight requirement. Water requirements: it is an orchid, grows on a bark of a tree, so obviously it will require consistently wet potting mix. It will have to be watered once in 3 to 4 days. I have kept a chunky potting mix, so water will drain out very fast from the medium, and I would be keeping the plant where it gets morning sun. Again, the water evaporation will be more, so obviously I will have to water the plant once in 3 to 4 days, and I will not allow the potting mix to go dry completely. This is my concept of orchids. And as I said, because these grow on the bark of the trees, bark will never dry out. Bark of the tree will never dry out. So it gets consistent moisture from the bark. So the same condition we will have to give to this orchid. I will be watering it once in 3 to 4 days. I will not allow the potting mix to dry out completely, and more so because the potting mix which I have given it is very chunky. That was about the watering schedule. Nutrition: orchids love nutrition. They love to eat a lot. While potting, I have not put any vermicompost. I want the plant to settle down. Once it settles down, I will give it vermicompost. This vermicompost, I will prepare it in a different way. I'll take a handful of vermicompost. That was a 6-inch pot, so a handful of vermicompost is more than enough. To that, I will add 1 teaspoon of bone meal and 1 teaspoon of Epsom salt. And that vermicompost mixture I am going to add to the pot. Right now nothing has been added. Later on, once the plant settles down, puts out new shoot and grows a bit, I will add that vermicompost. For blooming, Epsom salt and bone meal, they are of utmost importance. Unless bone meal is given, the plant will not bloom very easily. Bone meal has got phosphorus in it, and phosphorus helps the plant to develop good roots, and also it helps to the plant to bloom. Apart from that, there are a few sprays which we get for the orchids. High bloom is one of them. 5 grams of high bloom. It is available in small packets, and it's a powder, blue colored powder. 5 grams of high bloom mixed in 1 liter of water and then sprayed to the plant is more than enough. It can be used as a foliar spray, and it can be added into the potting mix also. 5 grams is enough for this plant. So that was about the nutrition. So thanks for joining. Take care. Bye.